The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by BankPlus. BankPlus, it's more than a name, it's a promise.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the BankPlus Studio.
Is now awarded.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Good morning. Welcome in. On a chilly Monday morning. Supposed to get warm, though, so I'm cool with that. Yesterday was perfect. Hope you had an opportunity to get outside. We did. And then enjoy some unbelievable championship football. Woo! We are the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, WRKS. We have an all-SEC quarterback. Super Bowl. And my Los Angeles Rams will be hosting. Can you believe that? They are going to host and play in their home stadium. Good morning, good morning. What a day. The AFC Championship game was awesome. The NFC Championship game was unbelievable. That's why we love the sport, the scoreboard. And all the ups and downs of the game of football and the other sports, obviously, that we follow. But that was a lot of fun. Matthew Stafford from Georgia, Joe Burrow, as he told everybody once again, from LSU, not Ohio State, which we just tweeted out that, whatever it is, graphic, which was pretty darn good. And almost cussed in the first segment, trying to wait till the second. Anyway, Hello. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. Ole Miss is number one in the transfer portal rankings. It is officially official, Dart and Trigg in Oxford. And so we're going to talk about that, too. Heavy AFC, NFC championship games. And then Ole Miss, number one in the transfer portal. This is going to be fascinating to see. Can you go this heavy all in the portal and make it work? And if you can, is it sustainable? And if you can, how many other teams kind of in that tier of where Ole Miss is will follow? And I cannot wait to see how this shakes out. Speaking of, the show is powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook, an award-winning DancingRabbitGolf.com. You can. Good day to play golf today. My son and I went out to Live Oaks Golf Club yesterday. Beautiful day. He swung the sticks. I lit a cigar. It worked. Felt great. No doubt. That place was packed yesterday, which was good to see. You can hit us up on the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-707-3750. Twitter handle @BowBounds. And the Ag Up Equipment. It was Mississippi Ag. Name change. Ag Up Equipment. Text line is 601-885-3776. Blake and I had a good weekend. We went to Starkville, and so we get to do cool stuff in our job. And, not all of it's cool, but a lot of it's cool. I walked in here at 5:40 a.m. this morning. I don't know how cool that was, but I'm excited to be here and going to be here for 3 hours. But we went to Starkville, Spring Street Cigars, which is already has shops in Tupelo and Oxford and Hernando and so on. Opened in this super, super cool, historic, exposed brick, wood beams spot. It's across from Restaurant Tyler where the old Mugshots was, if that makes sense. 2-story wraparound balcony overlooking Main Street. Very, very cool. And so they had their grand opening They've got it going on. And we went and Rocky Patel was there. And shops don't just get Rocky Patel. It just doesn't. You got to be getting after it. And for our listeners, Rocky Patel Cigars is a company and line of cigars that's done very, very, very well. And he's got premium cigars and sticks and whatnot. And he was there. They got him to come up from Naples and hang out and do the whole thing. And we interviewed him for our Whiskey 61 podcast, which is a new podcast we're rolling out in 2022. Still not used to saying that, Blake. And we had a blast. Blake made it happen. Rocky was very accommodating. He loves his Wisconsin Badgers and Green Bay Packers, loves football. He said he was very concerned going into this past weekend if the Packers would have won. How was he going to get back up to Lambeau? He was at the Green Bay San Francisco 49ers game the week before. And anyway, they've got a great line of cigars. We've talked about them at Havana Smoke Shop, Rocky Patel's. And for me, it was cool to interview him. Much cooler than 90-something% of the sports people that we interview. And I like interviewing those people. But he's interesting. He's an entrepreneur. He built it from the ground up. He wasn't part of the good old boy system and all of. I mean, he was an entertainment attorney in Los Angeles and da-da-da. It's a great story. And we'll drop that sooner than later. But that was a lot of fun. And then we went to dinner with Rocky, and he's got some great stories. He told us a story, Blake, about playing golf with Phil Mickelson and President Obama and
just casual.
Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler. And then he told us another story about playing with Michael Jordan, which I think he's done on more than one occasion. So
the funniest part, and I won't spoil it because you need to go listen to the Whiskey 61 podcast. But the funniest part was how he played with those four guys. Like the way that it unfolded was just
that's good.
That only happens to like the top 0.01%.
Yeah, first of all, you have to be on the right course in the first place to just be on the driving range.
Yeah.
And get included in how that all rolled out. His story was great. I said, well, did you enjoy playing golf with President Obama? And he said, yeah. He said he tried to kill the cigar industry, but other than that, we had a good time. So I thought that was hilarious too. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. So now it's official after the 2 weeks of drama. Dart and Trigg from Southern Cal are now officially Ole Miss Rebels, and Ole Miss is number one in the transfer portal. And if you combine their high school class, number 13 overall, this is going to be fascinating because Ole Miss is not going to sign any more high school players on Wednesday. So can you go this all in and make it work on your roster and in the new modern transfer portal?
Mm-hmm.
And if you can, other people are going to follow. Is there risk? Absolutely. Could there be reward? No question. Will there be? I have no idea. But this Kiffin Ole Miss model, go all in on the transfer portal and dabble in high school football recruiting. I can't wait to see how it plays out. Is it sustainable? We'll see. And if it is sustainable, others will follow and try to mimic or replicate what they're doing. If it is not, then people will kind of back up a little bit and do a little bit more, of a, I guess, adjust the numbers type deal. But, this is going to be wild. And then we'll keep an eye on Luke Altmaier's future. Here, there, everywhere. I don't know. Blake?
Lane may not be done this morning or maybe late last night. Crystal ball for Jared Ivey, 4-star defensive end out of Georgia Tech.
That was done.
It is. So well, he's not on their official list yet.
Yeah.
So
they went and got that. That happened on Thursday.
So is it official? They haven't done it yet.
He's going to Ole Miss.
Okay. Well, then you can add that to that list too, because he's not on their list yet. So that'll even bump them.
So that's pulling away.
Farther ahead.
That's pulling away on the number one ranking. So out of bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. The show is powered by MississippiSportsMedicine.com. We'll have the big board coming up next. SEC Insider Hit at 7:30. Tom Luganville, 8:30. Good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Boar's Head. Premium meats, cheeses, and hummus. Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.
What's on the big board?
Ooh, man, oh, man. It is a max effort Monday. Right here on the Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Don't forget that our podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean. Is Spotify a bad word now with the elites? We're on Spotify. So is Joe Rogan, but we're on Spotify. I love all these musicians that nobody's heard from for years. I'm taking my music off Spotify. Thought you're part of the group that's been standing up on a chair and a table for the last 50 years saying free speech, free speech, free speech. Can't figure y'all out. Unbelievable. Now you're rallying behind censorship? People are whacked out. Let's let everybody throw it out there. Let the peeps decide. Right? Y'all are going to make me quote DJ Hughley early in the morning. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, powered by MississippiSportsMedicine.com. Ole Miss, number one in the transfer portal. This is going to be something that we are going to talk about from now until Labor Day. And with their first 6 games, it's going to look like, A-plus, play. But can you go this all in on the transfer portal, dabble in high school football recruiting, and make it work because of the new modern age transfer portal? It's a great question. Could it happen? Yes. Could it not? Yes. I don't know. We're going to have to let it play out. But Dart, Trigg, Evans, among others, a lot of excitement in Oxford. And, hey, they put together their name, image, likeness deal in a hurry. They realized, we got to do it. And, you have to. Whether it's to retain your players, which you got to re-recruit them, or to land new players, both high school and transfer portal. And JUCO, obviously. I think y'all know that. High school, JUCO, transfer portal. All right. We'll talk to Tom Luganville about that. Transfer portal, high school football recruiting, all that kind of good stuff at 8:30 national. Well, he is the man, ESPN recruiting. He's also a national college football analyst. He'll join us at 8:30 on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line and the Corona Premier guest line. I've got Blake Mania with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We had a great weekend. Again, I mentioned interviewing Rocky Patel with Rocky Patel Cigars. That was great. I want to talk about the AFC and NFC Championship games. It was just I love football. I think all of you or most of you love football. The NFL game is so darn good. Watching Cooper Kupp yesterday, watching Joe Burrow. I just wrote down Joe Brady because I'm going to tie this into Ed Ogeron. This is going to be good. Oh, it's going to be. I've got this.
Please
I may
don't.
save the monologue for SEC Insider Hit, but it's going to be good. It's a combination of Burrow and Brady and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, Joe Burrow was magnificent. The last drive of the first half and the second half and overtime and so on, that was a lot of fun. Guys, when you look at Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon and these guys, they can ball. And what they did to Patrick Mahomes in the second half and in overtime, Blake, was, hey, credit to the Bengals, which maybe the worst unit in the stadium. Credit to the Bengals for what the Cincinnati Bengals are in. Say that out loud. The Fighting Joe Burrows. The Cincinnati Bengals are in the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever spent in 17 years or 18. And let me do the math real quick. Over 6,000 shows I don't think I've ever spent 3 minutes on Cincinnati Bengals football.
Wow, what am I drinking?
Seriously, though.
I don't.
No.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't talking Andy Dalton and A.J. Green.
We probably mentioned them when they drafted Joe Burrow, I'm sure. I'm sure we talked about Burrow going there. You know what I mean? We talked more about Burrow than Cincinnati, but we talked about him when he went there. Other than that, you probably have not talked about them at all. I feel fairly confident.
Yeah.
You weren't an NFL show 10 years ago, to be fair, too. In the heyday of Andy Dalton, right?
In the heyday of Andy Dalton. That was pretty good. That was pretty
Joe
good.
Burrow and the Bengals are in the Super Bowl.
Wendy said she did. So this is when I know if people are stars, right? I tell you this all the time. Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Mahomes. She was like, Joe Burrow, really know him, but she was like, he doesn't like she said he looks like he's 18 years old and like he's never shaved. And then I threw out the Macaulay Culkin. How do you say it?
Macaulay Culkin.
Culkin. Macaulay Culkin reference. And then what was it? What's it called? Not Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders. Sean Payton and others have made that reference.
Yes. The lead guy, he just has longer hair. But
phenomenal.
Yeah. He looks like Macaulay Culkin just grew up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what
he looks like his older brother.
That's what, yeah. He
comes home from, it's
100%.
like 10 years older, and they don't really know each other, and then he comes home from college, and, they just, yeah, that's it. Wow. Kay Adams is saying hello on Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. She's wearing an awesome, would you say bright orange or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Bengals orange.
Orange.
I'm sure they have.
Are their helmets awesome or what?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Let's talk about something that really matters. Not the way Joe Burrow played. How awesome are their helmets with the tiger stripes?
It's a pretty good helmet. It's pretty solid. The Bengals have an iconic image.
Easy, buddy.
You can't mistake. No, I'm saying you can't mistake that helmet.
Okay, I thought we were going to get into Ken Eason and Chris Collinsworth.
There are some jerseys. There's some like jerseys, helmets, whatever that don't stand out, but the Bengals is a clear the Bengals, right? You know it's a tiger.
Did you check on? I didn't think about it yesterday. Did you check on NFL Chuck?
Watching
watching an in-state team go to the Super Bowl?
The better team.
Oh wow.
The team of Ohio.
Oh wow. Wow. Have we? I'll text him.
Be realistic. If let's say, all right. So since
who's ready to sign Baker Mayfield to a 5-year deal?
The state of Ohio is somewhat like Mississippi in that you have two premier programs, right? Like they're kind of battling for in-state fans, in-state eyeballs. Obviously, the two cities will cheer for their two city teams, but then outside of that, anyone in the state could probably claim either one, right? You're in Ohio. How quickly do you think those Browns fans ordered Bengals gear over the last 2 weeks? How many Browns fans were folding up that OBJ Browns jersey and ordering themselves a Joe Burrow and a Jamar Chase Bengals jersey? Come on now.
Holy Mary Olzab. The Cincinnati Bengals
are
and the
in
LA Rams.
Super Bowl. But
I know the Rams were in a couple of years ago. When I was growing up, you don't remember Vince Ferragamo and, Marcus Dupree was there for Eric Dickerson, okay?
Yes, Eric
and
Dickerson,
they had cool, heck, Jackie Slater, I mean, when I was a kid, he was a god, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of that Walter Payton, Jackie Slater deal out of Jackson State. I didn't get to see him in the 70s, but I knew about him in the 80s.
Yeah.
And, of course, Slater, Hall of Famer. But, the Rams were the forgotten team, man.
Yes.
And I know John Robinson, what a great guy. He's been on the show, and he coached them for a while. But then they moved to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And they win it, but they win it as the St. Louis
Greatest
Rams.
show on turf. One of my favorite teams
Kurt
to watch
Warner.
growing up. Isaac Bruce.
I loved Marshall Faulk.
Yes. Marshall Faulk was amazing.
I loved Isaac Bruce, too.
Isaac Bruce was awesome.
I loved both of those guys. And Torrey Holt?
Torrey Holt?
Yeah. Boy, they knew how to put speed on the field and do some cool stuff.
Dude, they were incredible.
Long before coaches were leveraging all the field and chasing space.
They did it.
They
were the Chiefs.
They were the Chiefs.
20 years before. Pre-modern football. Yeah.
Well, we just figured everything out, cracked the code. We're going home. Tom Luganville at 8:30 today. SEC Insider Hit. Oh, I love this. We're going to get into that. SEC Insider Hit coming up next. We've got some great audio from Joe Burrow. greatest quarterback on the planet, and the Cincinnati Bengals call. We're powered by MississippiSportsMedicine.com. Good morning. Welcome in. Buckle up on a Max Effort Monday.
Just trying to find some recruits.
The Out of Bounds Show podcast is powered by Breezy Oaks Ranch. For Mississippi-raised premium Wagyu beef and heritage pork shipped straight to your door, visit breezyoaksranch.com.
Come on.
Everyone ready?
This is the SEC Insider Hit. Presented by your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local. Go with a home team.
Woo! Good morning. Welcome in. SEC Insider Hit this morning brought to you by our friends at Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home insurance with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent and save. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-707-3750. They write the insurance on this beautiful studio, just in case anything crazy happens at Beagle Bagel, right? I feel good. I can sleep at night. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. BankPlus, it's more than a name. It's a promise. We're streaming live on the Out of Bounds radio app. Please download it. Please tell your friends about it. Numbers are great on there. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Of course, this is 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, 50,000 watt FM. Number one sports talk radio station in the state of Mississippi, one of the top sports talk radio stations in the Southeastern Conference footprint, which now goes all the way over to College Station. Soon, Blake will go up to Boomer Sooner Land and Norman and Oklahoma City. Goes over to Columbia, Missouri, and Lexington, Kentucky, and Columbia, South Carolina, and down to Gainesville. So pretty good footprint here. We've got a lot going on, a lot of stories to cover. I'm going to get into some NFL, but I started the show with the fact that Ole Miss landed quarterback Dart, Trigg, tight end, who's kind of a hybrid flex guy, which I think definitely works in what Lane Train. I love saying that. I feel like a 7-year-old. Lane Train. You got to say it fast. Lane Train wants to do on offense. Ole Miss is number one in the transfer portal, and there is now, after some frustration, I think, the last couple of months between the December signing period in the Sugar Bowl and maybe missing out on some targets, people feel really, really good this morning that Lane Train has landed all these transfer portal guys. This could change between now and Wednesday, but according to last week when we were talking to Ole Miss insiders, both on the show and off, they weren't going to sign another high school guy on this Wednesday. So this is going to be a fascinating case study. And this is what we like. This is fun. Can this work? And I don't know what everybody's idea of working is different, okay? But can you go this heavy in the portal, somewhat dabble in high school football recruiting, build your roster, win, and is it sustainable? Could be. May not be. We'll see. Now, the first 6 games, I don't know if it matters who they roll out. That is a beautiful, yummy, 32-ounce ribeye, medium rare, with whatever your beverage of choice is, and a side of crab meat and a big lobster there. I mean, everything that you want the first 6 games next year that Ole Miss plays. They're going to be 5-1 or 6-0. And it'll be tough, I think, to find that one. But we'll see. I mean, your 3 biggest threats are Georgia Tech, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. And Kentucky just took another big blow, which is also good for MSU because MSU's fighting. Ole Miss is pulling Vanderbilt, who is by far the worst football program, recruiting-wise and otherwise, in the conference. And that is a yummy, every year, cross-division. I mean, that's delicious, right? Vanderbilt Commodores, great. Kentucky all of a sudden has flown up the recruiting rankings, and Stoops is a good coach, and they're nasty, and they're kind of built like the Big Ten, like a Michigan State who can beat you, and they're nasty in the line of scrimmage, which we know. I mean, that's the most important thing, that the QB position. And Kentucky looks like they're losing their offensive line coach to Alabama. How about that? So you want to see that. If you're a Mississippi State fan, you wanted to see Stoops get another job, because the odds, right? The odds are that you don't hire someone that's going to be Kentucky didn't know what it meant to play in games and bowl games in Florida. Now, Mummy went to a couple, right? The Mummy and Leach thing, and then they just left the grid for a while, and then now Stoops has dropped in and done done some really cool things at a basketball school. But to circle back to Lane Train and number one in the transfer portal, this is going to be an unbelievable, wild, fascinating case study. Can this work? And if it does, guess what? The MSU's, Arkansas, South Carolina, Oklahoma State type programs will follow suit. So, we'll see. Dart, Trigg, at Ole Miss. And Ole Miss, on the fly, put together their name, image, likeness. I'm talking about a big boy one. Not asking people to go out and give $100, which is nonsense. And so they got their top 5% donors. They put the fund together. And you could tell it was a call to action from Lane. Was it 3 weeks ago, Blake? 4? You could tell he got up, and Freeze did the same call to action after the 2013 Egg Bowl, and it worked. And so did this. Because we've talked about it. Ole Miss wants to win. And sometimes they just need a little push. And a month ago, it could have been a little bit, before that. But you could tell Lane was pretty frustrated that they missed out on some guys in December and felt like they were missing out on some guys in the transfer portal. Challenged his fan base. Boom. They start a fund, which is totally legal. I can't believe Ole Miss are the two I thought would have started that fund on July 2nd. But anyway, and now Mississippi State is scrambling to start, and again, if you're starting a fund to get $25 and $100 a person, you're wasting your time. But they go and get, the top 1, 2, 3, 4% to feed that thing. And rumor has it that's what Mississippi State is now doing. Although, good hell, late to the party. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN, WRKS. Of course, some people on campus got in the way, too. We're live in the BankPlus Studio. Show is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. We'll get more into that a little bit later in the show. And I think it's exciting. I can't wait to see. Can it work? And at what level and is it sustainable?
How many
years
in a row
can you depend on the transfer portal and kind of dabble in high school recruiting, football recruiting, and make it work? I don't know because I don't know. This is the modern transfer portal. It may work. It may not. We'll see. Tom Luganbill will join us on this, on the modern transfer portal, how heavy you can go, how all in you can go, and the balance between the transfer portal and high school football players, or JUCO. It's a combination of the three. All right, let's switch gears. How much fun was yesterday? Isn't that why we love sports? I mean, to watch teams play at a high level, coach at a high level, the ups and downs, the unbelievable plays, the mistakes. Oh, God, the physicality. I mean, the speed and physicality on the field. I mean, the gap between the NFL and college is just wow.
That Rams
even more than it's like, from LA to Tokyo. What now?
Rams 49ers, one of the most physical games I've ever seen.
No doubt.
That was brutal, some of the hits that they were hitting on each other. Cam Akers went out because he got smashed on his shoulder.
In.
Deebo Samuel got literally knocked out.
Deebo Samuel had 7 rushes for 26 yards.
Yeah. He got loose in the passing game a little bit, but it was, boy, I mean, two defensive games in some aspects at times, because it wasn't quite the offensive fireworks we saw from the divisional round.
Yet there was enough there for it to be fun. There were enough explosive plays.
Jamar Chase's touchdown to tie it, I guess, or to set up the 2-point conversion to tie it.
That was incredible.
When he went over, I mean, that's literally just mano a mano. I'm a bigger, better football player than you are, and you can't stop me.
No.
If that's Michael Jordan isolated on the wing, good luck.
Yeah.
Because you're just
against Clyde Drexler.
You're not getting it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Sure. The New York Knicks thought they were going to cover Jordan in the Eastern Conference Finals all during the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals.
Greatest of all time?
I think so. But think about how good he is. It goes to show you, Blake, most understand this, but now I think it's crystal clear how an Ed Ogeron LSU team, or an Ed Ogeron-led LSU team, won a national title with the most prolific offense in the history of college football. Joe freaking Burrow, Jamar Chase, elite coordinators by the name of Joe Brady and Dave Aranda, and elite talent. I mean, and why the very next year in game 1, after Burrow, Joe Brady, and Dave Aranda are gone, they give up 7,000 yards to a Mississippi State team at home and lose. So this guy is so good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he's got the arm, he's got the brains, he's got the will, he's got the competitive drive. And
he has? He's got the swag.
He does have the swag, and we're going to drop that here in just a second. He was so good post game. And he and Evan McPherson, I mean, ice water, baby.
Yeah.
Right?
How about the kickers in all the postseason games? Like, these winning teams, if you look at it.
Robbie Gould was unbelievable for the 49ers.
Yeah. For the Rams, Gay was good. He had one miss this week, but other than that, he had been good. Like, that was his first miss of the playoffs. These guys, I mean, they've been kicking incredibly well. All 4 kickers had been kicking well.
They have. What do you think the hangover rate is in Cincinnati this morning?
I'll steal a line from one of the funnier guys in the off-brand sports media, Barstool Big Cat. He said Cincinnati will be off for 3 weeks. It'll be from now until Super Bowl Monday. There will be no work in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Can you imagine? We remember what it was like when MSU and Ole Miss were in the top 5 in 2014.
And the chaos and the frenzy.
And the game day comes through both and just how much fun and amazing it was. But everybody is walking 10 feet off the ground.
Well, you went into Kansas
Things that are
City.
going on bad in your life are okay for a little while.
Well, they're just not there. You just don't even notice them.
I mean, you're on this high in this rush after being Cincinnati Bengals have been irrelevant since like 1987, and we're just kind of relevant then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, how much fun do you think they're having in Cincinnati? The Reds haven't won it since 1990.
No.
And the Bengals have never won it.
No. Let's get everybody into the Cincinnati mood, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
4 years ago, he was a senior in high school in tiny Fort Payne, Alabama. Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up. It is good. Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. That is unbelievable. The Cincinnati Bengals come from behind on the road. Unbelievable, Dan.
It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56.
I love that
That's
color
the
guy.
Cincinnati Bengals broadcast team. And that was amazing. That was Hall of Fame-esque. And somewhere Vin Scully was taking notes. All right, let's drop the Joe Burrow when asked about his And we'll give a shout out to Nick Fulton and USA Pawn. They buy and sell gold and silver and do it at a high level. They asked Joe Burrow, sorry, I may have said Joe Brady. They asked Joe Burrow after the game, about his necklace.
Joe, being a good reporter, I've got to ask about the jewels. Are they real, and what are they? And did you sense an opening at the end of the first half when the Chiefs didn't get at least 3 points?
They're definitely real. I think I make too much money to have fake ones, so these are real. I'm sorry, what was the second question?
I make too much money to have fake ones. That is your guy, Joe Burrow, with the Cincinnati Bengals. He also let everybody know that he's an LSU Tiger, not an Ohio State Buckeye, and let Buckeye Nation know that, no, you will not be claiming me. How about that? And I see a lot of LSU fans on my Facebook feed that are having a large time with this. I mean, look, they won a championship. Their first two were 3 yards in a cloud of dust and unbelievable defense, right? Of course, LSU's had elite. I love saying that, especially for some people. Elite talent for a long time. And Blake, did we sleep on Joe Burrow? Even though they had the most prolific offense in the history of college football?
I don't know that I think getting injured, 4 weeks into his rookie season,
and you're already with Cincinnati that doesn't play in the 3:30 game or the Sunday night game.
No one expected you to win coming out of
college. You're like the Saints pre-Peyton and Breeze. You're never in a time slot where anybody gives a damn.
It's like going to the Jets or the Jaguars or the Browns.
Exactly. God, you just took another shot at NFL Chuck.
You're behind the 8 ball because you're going to a franchise that already isn't winning. So no one's expecting you to come in necessarily and just win immediately. Who knows what he would have looked like for his full rookie? Maybe they are better than they were. They only won 4 games as a team last year. He won 2 of them. Maybe they win 8 and are middle of the pack when it comes to playoff contenders instead of 4-12. And this turnaround isn't quite what it looks like today, right?
Yeah.
But going worst to first, the way they've done is truly a remarkable.
There you go.
Feat.
Worst to first.
I mean, that's what it is essentially. They were
okay,
back.
Let me ask you this:
North.
who was the last NFL franchise that was like the Bengals? Maybe it's the Saints, but help me out here, Blake. In the last 10, 15, 20 years, the last NFL franchise to be garbage for decades. And end up in the Super Bowl. Just a couple of years ago, you mentioned they won 4 last year. He was knocked out, whatever it was, 4 or 5 weeks in with the ACL tear. It was right around the same time that Dak did all the stuff to his ankle.
I think he was like a week
leg.
before Dak or 2 weeks before, something like that, yeah. Okay. All right, so franchises that fit. All right, so I'm going to say the 49ers, which is crazy, but for all of the 2000s, they were terrible.
Because the 80s and 90s they were really good.
Yeah,
actually they were great in the 80s and still really good in the 90s.
And then the back, very end of the 90s, the Singletary years. Come on, I mean they were awful.
Yeah,
and but they weren't bad for multiple decades. They were bad for a decade.
Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for.
Then you have the Panthers, which is a great one. So they had Del Home in the 90s, and then they don't do anything until Cam.
But they didn't even start until the 90s.
I know. So I mean, it's hard to be.
So it'd be the Saints, I think.
Yeah.
Who were irrelevant from 1967 to 2005.
Yes. It's just hard to be irrelevant that long.
It really is.
That's the problem.
I mean, the Lions have pulled it off. The Browns, even the Jets went to 2 AFC Championship games.
Yeah, I got to give Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez credit. I know that they get
to play into the Final Four in the NFL
while
is so
Brady
darn
is
difficult.
in your division, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I can't knock the Jets. I know the Jets have been terrible and they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but I got to give them that.
Yeah.
All right, so the Rams were, again, there's a lot of teams that were bad for a decade. That seems to be the kind of the window. The Rams, good in the 90s at times, then kind of, tail off for a while. Now they've come back under McVay. I mean, I'd go with the Cowboys, I guess. They're on one of the longest droughts, right?
Yes.
So you could put them in, but again,
years.
it's only 2 decades, not multiple.
Out of bounds, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. What about the Rams? So we got the Bengals and Joe Burrow, SEC, LSU. Then you got Matthew Stafford, Georgia, and the Rams. What about the Rams going all in? You know, it's rare in professional sports when the teams go all in that it works, but every now and then it does.
Mm-hmm.
And Les Snead, their general manager, right, and Sean McVay were able to convince, is it Stan Kroenke?
Yes.
Who owns SoFi Stadium and the LA Rams, and now they're hosting the Super Bowl, and the Rams will be at home, which is still incredible. But they went all in and said, hey, draft picks, great. We want to go get players that are that have already proven they can play and bring them in, and we're going to let it rip. Like Matthew Stafford, Von Miller, What about OBJ? OBJ wasted the bulk of his career in his prime by throwing fits at the Giants, by not figuring it out, and, of course, the Browns. I mean, it's a little bit of both. And then you drop him at the Rams, and does culture matter? I know it's an overused word, but DeMario Davis just talked about walking into the New Orleans Saints and meeting with Sean Payton and just could feel the difference basically in the first minute to 5 minutes he was there compared to playing at the Jets and the Browns. So, Blake, you drop OBJ, who had been a problem, and a diva, and he is wildly productive for the LA Rams because McVay and Snead go, hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. You can either get on board or get out of the way. But they go all in. They push all their chips into the – you've been there at poker. You have been there with either you or your friends on a night, whether it's at someone's house and it's a big money game or at a casino, when somebody pushed all the chips into the middle of the table and said, I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm talking about a buddy, he's sitting there with $15,000, $20,000, whatever. Big money. Now
it's like $50 million because you're talking about Les Snead and Sean McVay are essentially putting their careers on the line to mortgage the next 5 years of their draft picks in order to bring in Matthew Stafford because they believe he can do what Jared Goff couldn't do.
And he did.
And he has.
The throw to Cooper Kupp the week before.
Against the Bucs.
When you had to have it.
Yep.
Against the GOAT.
Yep.
Against Tom Brady, who had just hit Mike Evans in stride.
Well, how about being down at home in a hostile environment?
Yeah, so you have more 49ers fans. I mean, somewhat embarrassed. Not the players' fault, not Sean McVay's fault.
No.
Okay, but you have more 49ers fans in SoFi Stadium than LA Rams fans.
They had to go silent count at home. That doesn't happen.
And Aikman was funny, and I know he's not, but in a dry way, he took a shot at Rams fans talking about having to go.
They did it a couple times.
Right, to a silent count when you're in your home stadium. So, Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford make it happen. That play that Aaron Donald made to end the game so that Jimmy Garoppolo throws the pick or the shovel pass, whatever you want to call it, was unbelievable too. But and Blake, one other thing, the fact that Mahomes and them screwed up going into halftime blew me away.
That was
in the NFL.
Joe Burrow and the Bengals talked about how that was that moment where they said we're coming back.
Yeah. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins from Clemson. Why wasn't he a first-round pick? Kind of like A.J. Brown, Blake. Tom Luganville coming up on the Bucked Up Energy Drinks guest line. This is Out of Bounds, brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Good morning. Welcome in on a Monday.